Welcome. My name is Karen Clarke. I am from Foxy 107, 104, and we are doing another episode of Conversations with Lenovo. So joining me today, I've got Bridgett Rogers, who is the Director of Customer Experience and Software at Lenovo. I've also got Sandra Clarke, who is the Senior Enablement Manager for DaaS. Thank you, ladies, for joining us today. I'm so glad that we can have you all participate in this conversation, especially during Women's History Month. So it's always nice to have a moment with the ladies. So welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So let's just jump right into it. We all know that there are fewer women than men working in tech. So when each of you were considering a career path, what attracted you to pursue a career in information technology? Bridgett, we'll start with you.
So for me, I'll say it's just been a part of who I've always been as a young child. My parents really gave me the space to do a lot of exploring when I was young. I was very curious, loved science, technology at a very young age. And I just knew at a very young age that I would continue to do something in this space. And being at Lenovo, there's so many different things that we have an opportunity to work on. That's why it was really a leader for me.
And Sandra?
Well, Karen, for me, it was about opportunity. STEM fields are some of the fastest growing in America. And when I joined Lenovo in 2010, it was just following the economic crash. And I saw Lenovo as a place that could really allow me to grow and reach some of my career goals. And in fact, I had a history with Lenovo for many years before that. The college that I went to was actually part of the ThinkPad University program, where every student received a ThinkPad their freshman year. So I knew the products were great, and I'd heard the name, and I was interested in pursuing it.
And now here you are.
Here we are.
That's kind of awesome. So how would each of you define diversity, equity, and inclusion? Of course, we all know that these are terms that are being used a lot these days. So I want you to have an opportunity to share with our audience what that means to you.
So I'll start, if that's okay. For me, when I think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, I think about not only ensuring that people have equal opportunity, but they have the same, they're coming from the same vantage point. They have the same starting line and are giving an opportunity equally to be able to succeed.
Mm-hmm. Sandra, for you?
Yeah, that's a great answer, Bridgett. I think it's about providing equal opportunities for everyone. We all come from different backgrounds. Lenovo is a global company. We have employees in 60 countries, and we serve more than 180 markets. And from a business perspective, it's about making sure that our products and our company reflect that of all of the people who are in our market, right? Which is everyone all around the world. And so starting from an equal place is key.
So as a leading tech company, how does Lenovo set their internal goals for diversity, equity, and inclusion? And do employee groups have any input in goal setting? How does that work for you all?
So we'll say we have some lofty goals in place to ensure that we're continuing that space of DE&I. When I think about how we're setting the goals and the goals that we actually have some goals currently where we are working to increase the female executives to 27%, and then overall executive representation for people that are from those underserved populations to 35% by the year 2025. And we do that in various ways. We have different programs that are in place to grow the leadership of people to ensure that we have the foundation to succeed and grow as leaders at Lenovo. We also do a lot of work with employee resource groups, or as we like to call it, ERGs. And we work collectively with our DE&I organization to have the conversations for them to understand the pain points that we see and share that back with our DE&I board as they're making those goals.
2025, that's right around the corner.
It is.
We're almost there.
Yes.
Sandra, do you want to weigh in on that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And, Lenovo has a number of initiatives in place to measure success for DEI. And we also look at a lot of external sources and what are they saying about how we're performing against those goals. And we've been ranked on the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index. We've also received a perfect score from the Human Rights Campaign Foundation's Corporate Equality Index for LGBTQ plus inclusion. And we've received recognition as a best place to work for disability inclusion. So as was said before, we've got a lot of work to do about improving the executive representation for women and historically underrepresented ethnic and racial groups. But external groups are starting to recognize the progress that we've made.
And I was going to ask how are the successes measured, but it seems like all of those accolades kind of sum it all up. And is there an opportunity for just any employee to weigh in or say, you know, I think we should be doing this, or do you need to be a part of a specific group?
Sandra, you want to take that?
Sure. You know, I think that Lenovo's implemented a lot of great programs within the employee resource groups. And there's something for everyone, right? There are a variety of different groups. We launched the ERGs about 10 years ago with its very first group, which happens to be my personal favorite, Women in Lenovo Leadership. And, you know, we offer a lot of different things such as events, book clubs, speaking opportunities, and lots of volunteering. So there are tons of opportunities for people to get engaged.
Okay, fabulous. So what progress have you seen since you all have been at Lenovo?
I will say there's been a lot of progress in the areas of DE&I. So we have, been able to increase the number of female executives from 21%. As I mentioned earlier, we're moving to 27% by 2025. And the same thing when we think about executives overall from those historically underrepresented groups. 29% is where we were, and we're moving to 35%. So I think that's, says a lot about some of the areas that we're growing in. Also, when Sandra talked about the employee resource groups, she mentioned that Will was one of the first ones, and we have grown and now have more than about 10 different employee resource groups for people to work within these particular groups to further the initiatives of those specific groups.
So why do you all feel personally that it's important for tech companies like Lenovo to really embrace diversity and inclusion? Why do we need this specifically in tech?
For me, I will say it's important because when I look at technology, when I was younger and I looked in this space, there were not a lot of people that looked like me. So it's important for us to continue to move forward and really represent what our customers look like. I think Sandra touched on this earlier, the fact that we're in so many different countries, we have global customers. It's important for us to ensure that we're representing our customers because that is what they are looking for when they're looking for suppliers of products. In addition, I'll say bringing together a diverse group of people really helps us to ensure that our products are diverse because, as Sandra mentioned, we come from different backgrounds. So we're all able to bring a different perspective as we're discussing what the products may look like, how users interact with our products to ensure that they really can be used by all people.
Yeah.
What do you think, Sandra? I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I mean, we know that women occupy less than 30% of positions overall on average in the tech space. So, not only is DEI the right thing to do, but it also makes good business sense. We know that DEI awareness allows organizations to be more inclusive of different ideas, different cultures, lifestyles, and that leads to better innovation. It leads to more creativity, better products, and a better company culture. And it also positions tech companies to hire the best employees. There is so much data out there that shows that diverse teams make better decisions and create better outcomes for businesses. So it's really a win-win.
You talked a little bit earlier, Bridgett, about getting to that level of 27% of women in leadership at Lenovo. What about other underrepresented groups?
Yes, so there also, as I mentioned, there's a goal for Lenovo to increase the representation of executives from those underserved population or ethnic and race groups from 29% to 35% also by the year of 2025. And so again, we're doing that through a lot of those leadership programs that I talked about earlier. There will be different leadership programs that we put in place, again, just to ensure that people have the foundation to be able to build those skills to ensure that they can lead as those opportunities come about.
So, how does Lenovo encourage people, employees, to participate in diversity and inclusion? Is there really an effort like we're all getting on board, we're all doing this, or is it kind of a like you can participate in these things if you want to?
Well, I think that the message starts at the top. You know, we have a
Mhm.
number of DEI departments. We have an executive. We also have a number of projects and groups from the ERGs, from a OLA, which is our dedicated to the improvement of the Hispanic employees at Lenovo. We have ABLE, which is dedicated to understanding different types of levels of ability. So I think that, you know, there are a variety of different opportunities to get involved that touch on so many different groups of people, so that there's truly something for everyone. You know, we're also working on implementing programs to strengthen our pipeline of talent through mentoring programs as well. So there really is a lot of opportunity.
So I understand that you all are members of the Women in Lenovo Leadership Employment Resource Group. So, what have been some of your impactful experiences that you've had participating in that group?
I will say for me, one of the most impactful, I shouldn't say one, but some of the most impactful experiences that I've had in being not only just a member of WIL, but a board member is being able to work with women that I typically do not work with on a day to day basis. I'm able to
Mm.
learn different parts of the business, what's going on, what their pain points are, and then able to kind of understand if we, in my day to day job, have something that would actually solve one of their pain points. So it not only is it furthering the initiative and the work and the cause of the employee resource groups, but there's opportunities for us to continue to cross leverage from a day-to-day business perspective.
And what about you, Sandra?
I agree. I think that participation in the Women in Lenovo Leadership has allowed me to meet so many different leaders from across the business who I might not have had the opportunity to meet just working in my role and my team. So it's definitely opened my eyes to many different leadership styles, different people. And I've also had the opportunity to lead the Will Mentoring Academy, which is a program where we have, over the last 2 years since we launched, mentored over 200 women across Lenovo with and paired them with mentors to provide them with career advice. And that program has been just so meaningful for me personally. People come up to me and say, you know, I met someone through your program that really impacted me, or this program helped me get into my new current role. And being able to lead those types of efforts within the ERG has been really meaningful.
That's got to feel meaningful. That's got to feel really, really great. And with that mentoring, is it mentoring within whatever particular area you're in, or is it like mentoring someone from this point of the country could be mentoring someone from this point of the country
It's
or
a
other
program
countries?
across, yeah, it's a program we run across North America. So
Oh, wow.
we have a variety of different mentees and mentors from all different parts of the company. So we could be pairing an engineer with a salesperson. We could be pairing, you know, someone who is a developer with an advertising leader. So it's a variety of different opinions and ideas. And that's what makes the program so great, because instead of just hearing from one person, their ideas, our mentees start the program with sort of a speed dating like round where they
Mhm.
have small group sessions and they get to hear opinions from a variety of different people. So that's really, really valuable.
Now, obviously not to disparage any other companies, but have you all worked at companies that were this invested as in diversity and inclusion as Lenovo seems to be?
Well, for me, I've been here 25 years, so a lot of my experience has been here. And prior to that, I was at another company, but DE and I really was not a focal, not just for
Mhm.
that company, but just I would say in the space in general. You know, that long ago, it wasn't something that was talked about and focused on as much. So I'm extremely happy and proud to be part of Lenovo, who really is focusing a lot on the DE and I efforts.
What
Yeah,
about you, Sandra?
I've been at Lenovo for 13 years, so a fairly long time as well. But I'll say that, early in my career, there were many times when I was the only woman at the table.
Mm.
And I definitely have seen, as time has gone on, that is slowly starting to change across the tech field, and then specifically at Lenovo, because there are so many specific measurable efforts. I think it's really important that we don't just talk about it, but that we
Mhm.
actually hold the feet to the fire with women and male allies to actually take actionable efforts.
Now, both of you have mentioned STEM. So, for our listeners that are not familiar with that terminology, can you explain what STEM is and what advice would you give to listeners who have kids or grandchildren or nieces or nephews that want to get into STEM? What words of wisdom would you all offer?
So, STEM, the acronym simply stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. So, anything in those particular areas. And when I think about, a piece of advice to give to anyone who might be interested in pursuing further studies or careers in this space is just to, don't pay attention to the noise, the negative chatter that you may hear. If you're
Mhm.
interested in it, move, go for it. Stay curious. That's what really happened for me. I was curious, and my parents really just gave me the space to be able to explore. So I would say seek out those places, those resources. There are so many resources available today for people that are interested in fields in STEM. So tune out the noise, stay curious, and use your resources.
Yeah, I would say to anyone, especially to girls that are considering STEM careers, just go for it. Don't be intimidated. Raise your hand when you know the answer. Don't apologize for making your voice heard. There is a place for every woman at the STEM table, no matter where your interests are. It doesn't have to just be engineering. Look at emerging fields, things that have come up in the last few years: bioinformatics, environmental science, artificial intelligence. If COVID has taught us anything, it's the importance of global health. There will be
Mhm.
tons of opportunities in that space. And I would encourage girls to lean in to research and internship opportunities. That level of networking is key for women to be successful in STEM.
I think you said something that really stuck out to me. Raise your hand when you know the answer. Like, I can remember growing up, I can actually remember in the fifth grade, I had a teacher that said, girls just aren't as good in math, and the boys are just better in math. So I was like, well, I'm not good in math, so I'm just not going to not going to say anything. I think we'd be hard pressed to see teachers doing that now in 2023. But
Right.
many, many, many moons ago when I was in elementary school, like that was totally a thing. But I think it's so important for girls to be told to raise your hand, let your voice be heard, and let people know that you know things too. I think that's really important.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid, right? I think that's the key thing is you know the answer. Get your hand up and make your voice be heard, because oftentimes I think women and girls are sort of taught that we should be quiet or sweet or nice, and we can be those things and also be smart and have our voices heard too.
Absolutely. We can be quiet and smart and sweet and smart.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yes.
thank you so much, ladies. This is a great conversation. I'm glad that I got a chance to talk to you, and I'm glad that we haven't had an opportunity to share some insight into the inner workings of Lenovo and how exactly important diversity is to Lenovo and inclusion. So, thank you so much for taking time out to chat with us about your incredible company.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks, Karen.